Hello, friends. Welcome to Squared Plans, where creative planning and organization comes to life. I'm Stephanie, and today we're going to be creating my faith planner setup for the month of February. We'll be decorating my monthly and weekly pages in a floral theme, so come play with me. And I've got some washi tapes here ready to go, along with a few brush tip markers, this Happy Planner sticker book, and this Live Love Posh sticker book, which I'll pull from. Okay, you guys, so we are going to be doing all of the pages in my faith planner for the month of February. And I am going to start off with the weekly pages. I'm going to go ahead and lay down some fresh wax paper because that other wax paper was getting pretty roughed up, and get started with the weekly designs. So I want to use these florals here from the Live Love Posh Winter Bloom sticker book. And I'm just trying to see what I have left over here from previous use and see if I have enough to really carry me through the entire month with just these florals. I like to set up all 4 weeks at once on this one spread, just planning to utilize that upper left box, which says this week, on the quadrant layout format that I'm using from my Etsy shop. I will link all the products that I'm using here for the decor, as well as the inserts and maybe a few other items that I use for my setups, down below in the video description if there's anything you would like a closer look at. Okay, so I cut 2 of the florals down into halves, and I'm going to use that for each week. So that will give me 4 weeks for February. I'm also layering in some script washi in the background for a little added texture. Just trying to see how that might layer in and look a little bit unique per week, since I did use the same sticker and halved it for the weeklies. So there is a bit of repetition in the fact that the florals look the same every other week. Adding that little bit of texture will help kind of camouflage the repetitiveness of that sticker. And then I'll also be laying in some other items like some quotes. And I'm pulling from that Happy Planner sticker book in gray. I think that the gray will be a nice match for some of those lighter leaves in these florals. Trying some washi tape out. Also thought maybe some arrows or something else would be nice as a decorative touch, but didn't really like how those were laying in. Gonna go ahead and look through this book and see if I can find anything else that might fit the bill as far as added decor. I did pull quite a few washi, so let's see how those layer in, and maybe I can come up with a standard look and feel for this theme with just those items. I have this periwinkle blue striped washi that I think is a really good match for the colors of the blues in the florals. So I pulled that. I also pulled in a pink washi that I have in my stash, just a solid washi. I tried out the gray washi that I pulled, the polka dotted gray, which I think would have been a good match up, but since I had those gray quote stickers, those long stickers, I decided not to use the washi and just stick with the blue and the pink washi to tie in the color scheme of the florals. So we'll start putting these onto the page and I'll build them out. Figuring out the layering here, the washi, and just the positioning of things. Normally I would try to lay everything down at once, but because there's a lot of straight lines with the washi, I didn't want anything to be off center, so I'm laying them down in pieces. And I decided that I really wanted a little something else here in this vacancy or this blank area below the florals. So I went ahead and pulled in another little branch element to fill that space. I'm also getting over a cold, so Please forgive me if I sound a bit more nasally than usual. You guys all know I have my chronic issues anyway, but with a cold, it's just like amplified. Decided to go every other week, kind of going washi on top, washi on the bottom, and switching left to right with the florals too, just to add a little bit of variety from week to week. It's going pretty fast though, but like I said, I'm deconstructing each one just so I can make sure all the lines are straight. It would probably not end up that way if I did it all at once, so I've just found that doing it one by one makes it a little bit easier to keep everything straight and aligned. And just laying in this third week. One more to go. Just gonna edit this washi tape a little bit here so that it isn't quite so large and cumbersome on this part of the page. Reposition the florals a little bit higher on this one, and then lay in the rest of the washies. Trim those down. And that looks good. I think we got a nice baseline too for the theme for the month. So let's go ahead and get started on the monthly. And I will just lay down that wax paper once more so we can figure this one out together. Let's find some florals for this page. I had this big strip sticker of the florals, but it is pre-trimmed, which is kind of a bummer. I have to adjust for that. But since there are no days of February at the end of the month, because I use a Sunday start, it gives me a big giant space here for decor, which is really nice. You usually don't get that much space in a month to fill in with decor type items. So I'm trying to camouflage the sharp edges there of that larger sticker with a few of those free floating florals. I think I did a pretty good job, although I am seeing one area that probably still needs adjustment. Gonna go ahead and lay in some washi tape here at the top. Already laid in that script washi on the sides. I think that's gonna have to be where those live. And of course, we're going to need some of those bar quotes here as well, just to tie the whole theme together. Doesn't quite look the same as it did on the weekly, so might have to make some adjustments. I did end up cutting down that one leaf that was pre-cut, just so it wouldn't be so obvious that that was a cut line for that large sticker. And now I'm going to try to work in another floral here just to finish out the edge, but we'll see. Maybe add a few more leaves, that helps. And then just close out this edge. That's looking good. Thought I might pull in a quote that's more scripty, but I don't know. Not sure if I want to introduce that or not. Maybe try repositioning the script washi. We'll find out when we actually put this on the page what I decide to do. I do end up making some adjustments when I lay it down. I'm going to go ahead and get started by whiting out those empty days at the end of the month. Just using a gel pen, white opaque ink, covers those fine lines perfectly. And as that dries, let's go ahead and lay in the script washi on the edges. I think I'm going to need to use a little bit more of that white out over here as well, just so you're not seeing that black line show through behind the washi. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and try to get this large sticker at the bottom laid in now that the white ink should be dry. I got almost everything up except for the last part there at the end. Let's just drop this in. I did shift it slightly towards the right just to help it be a little more centered on the page. And we will trim out some of those extras and try to reuse those somewhere. I didn't really like the quotes being side by side there at the top, so I think I'm going to try something a little bit different. I'm bringing these quotes down here at the bottom, just kind of as a big decor piece all along the bottom of the month. So we'll just reuse that same washi I had at the top and lay that in a little bit, overlapping with the florals, similar to what I had on the weekly, which is nice to see that repetition. Just get everything nice and lined up and trimmed out. That looks really good. And then for balance, we'll add a bit more color up here at the top, but just stick with the colored washies here. Just a slight layering. And that looks good. I think I want to add something else, but not quite sure what at this point. We could add these smaller florals as almost like a bracketing at the top. I think that will look good. I'm going to trim off this larger kind of fern leaf style branch and reposition it so that it feels a little more balanced, since that was the exact same sticker and not a mirrored version of the sticker. That helped a lot, I think, too, with that balance at the top. Went ahead and separated out the pages. And lastly, I will add a bit of marker to this page in the color scheme. Just going to add a line of color at the top of each day, alternating between the blue and the pink every other day of the week. Oh, and I did decide here just to add in one little quote that says Bible study here at the top to fill that space. That all looks really cute. I like it. Last spread we'll be setting up here is the Faith Overview spread. This is a layout available in my shop, and it is a faith-based spread that gives you a space for a monthly overview of your faith habits, a prayer list, and a spiritual check-in area, plus a lot of empty space for you to do with whatever you deem necessary. So really like this layout. It's been a standard element in my faith planner since I created it. And I think it's a nice addition to any faith planner if you need a little something else to help beef up your faith routine. Went ahead and dropped in some script washi on the edges, deciding to do more of a triangular pattern on this spread. I've got some in the upper corner and the bottom middle, and then one on the right, almost centered, a little bit higher on the center. I also decided to cut up one of those stickers and break it into two pieces, anything that was going to be kind of touching the side. More to emulate how it was on the weeklies. And then I'll cluster up a few of those looser floral stickers to beef up these sticker clusters. Not sure how I want to lay these guys in yet. Got a few elements to work in. Reposition some of these leaf stickers that are just a little bit awkwardly placed when trying to layer these florals. So I will reuse them, but I'll just put them in a better spot depending on how the cluster comes together. That looks good. I was trying to use all the pieces here too. Unfortunately, there's like 2 more pages of these florals in paper stickers, mainly in boxes. So I never ended up using those, I don't think, in any of the spreads where I used the florals. So unfortunately, I don't know what I'm going to do with those, but maybe I'll find a use for them in the future. Went ahead and laid in that washi now, and just trying to figure out where I want to place it. Kind of liking that. We'll bring in some bar quotes here as well. Actually pulling in a little bit of a warmer gray for this spread, but I do want them all to match, so I'm going to stick with that warmer gray throughout, so it's a little bit less noticeable that it's not the same blue or gray that I used on the other spreads. Now we'll get ready to drop things in. Let's go ahead and start with this bottom corner. Trim it to size as well. It's just so it doesn't hit into those habit trackers. Do the same over here. Drop in this upper corner. And we will trim that out. Decided to kind of move that washi tape cluster in a little bit. We will trim out all the excess and move on to this last cluster over here. Again, kind of moving it over in pieces so that there's no issues with straightness. And then drop in this washi wherever I can fit it in. Kind of moved it around a little bit. Trimming out the edges. Straightening things out on the page. And then finally I'll add a little bit more color with those markers, using a little bit of the blue and then the pink tone, also highlighting those bullets in the pink just for a little bit of added color. I will go ahead and punch the holes for these first 2 pages since they have some sticker layover. And once I'm done with that, you guys, we will be done, friends. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up down below. Also to go ahead and leave me a comment if you'd like to get in touch. And think about subscribing to my channel if you haven't already, if you'd like to see more of my videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye!